center
This
or anything like
conference
that.
will now be recorded.
We're being recorded. Um, and so yesterday, the wheelchair arrived, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much better because I'm not spending, if any of you are spoon theory people, and have to spend any spoons on simple stuff like getting to the bathroom, you know? So I'm feeling a little bit better. Like yesterday, I got in the shower okay, took a shower. Last night, I was able to wake up. Well, when I woke up, I was able to use a walker to get to the bathroom and back. So I would say probably 20 steps both ways. And that was a big confidence booster for me. So I do feel myself getting better, but God, you never want to hear that you're going to be in a chair, you know?
You know, John, I can completely sympathize with you right now. I recently, I would say within the last 2 months or so, I've transitioned. Okay, I should say from July, I have transitioned from being able to get around walking to not being able to walk. So I've had to use a walker. And then it progressed even more. And now I am in a wheelchair. And I can completely sympathize, like the fear
Yeah.
of being now walker or wheelchair restricted when it's like they've said before in this group, it's kind of like you have to grieve your previous abilities
Yeah.
and move on and accept, not really, I'm saying it incorrectly, but just start to acknowledge and accept your new way of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed about. Yes. Oh, trust me, I've cried many times. Just because it's kind of like a part of you is gone
Yeah.
because you can no longer do that. And you know, mine is due to a flare up that just came out of nowhere. And I went 18 years without major issues. This was my first year at the hospital and having to be admitted. And it's just getting worse, you know, and I don't know if it's going to get better. That's why I'm down here at the Mayo. But if I am wheelchair bound for the rest of my life, it's taken me a little bit, but I now have accepted that. Will I be happy if I can at least get up and use a walker? Oh, I'd be elated, but
Yeah.
we'll just have to see. It's time will only tell. But so
Yeah.
I can completely understand where you're coming from, and trust me, I'm getting choked up with you because it is hard. It's something that you think I'm too young for this,
Yeah. Like I've been
you
walking my
know?
whole life. I'm really good at it.
Right. But no, I can completely understand and sympathize with you because it's just like, I feel like I'm too young. I'm in I just turned 42 last month. I'm like, I am too young for this. Why
I
is this
turned I
happening now?
I turned 42 this summer, so I know how you feel.
So it's just like, okay, you know, I knew at some point it was going to happen, possibly.
Yeah.
If it did, I'd hoped that it would happen much later in life. But unfortunately, my circumstances have said otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset about it now. I was at first, but I'm not as upset about it now.
Yeah. Like
I just,
when
everybody
I
jokes with me and says
when
I'm
I
going to have,
got sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no,
I was,
it's just,
I
everybody
was
jokes with me.
I was just going to say one thing, Christy, and this I get to say this because I'm older than you, so it's like a big sister to a little sister, and
Okay, I'm listening.
nobody, you know, how the cards fall, the cards fall. But if you have to start using a wheelchair, you will see it's like such a key to independence. Because if I don't have my wheelchair, I'm a bump. I'm a bump on a log. I just sit there. But I have my chair, world's my oyster. I can go places and I can do things. I can go to the bathroom. Granted, I need help. But so I don't know if that will help. I mean, it's a sucky thing. I hate it. But thank God I have wheels. I feel like
Right.
a 15-year-old. Like I have my independence when I have my wheelchair. So,
Right. And if this turns into more of a permanent thing, I really need to start looking into a motorized wheelchair
right.
because, the manual gets me around and I feel the independence there, but I just get so tired after pushing for so long. I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
And
So I'll sit there.
your energy is so more important to not just waste, like spend it all pushing yourself if you can get something to get you from
Right,
A to Z.
right. And, luckily I do have a family member that is going to give me an electric wheelchair. Um, I just, I have no way to transport it right now to go get it.
Mhm.
So that's just something we're just going to have to figure out. So that's also a great blessing that I have family that can help me out in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then
So I have a question about just this thing about wheelchair because that's, soon in my future. And what about like home modification? Because I live in an old home. It's not meant for wheelchairs, and I have steps, and that's
My wife spent the last day or so moving furniture, taking my office door off so that the chair will fit through it because we're in a pretty newer home, but still there's just angles that can't be turned easily.
And I know, Karen, it may not be the ultimate solution, and don't roll your eyes, but the National MS Society has programs to help modify homes. And I only know this because I was on a conference call a little bit ago about how they're really trying to put their money behind people staying in their homes and to make modifications. So Karen, if that day ever comes, maybe they can help you with like a ramp, and I understand you have stairs, but just something to make your home a little more usable.
yeah. I don't have stairs in my home, but
Okay.
it's just harder and harder to get out, and just the mechanics of even getting things done because I have cognitive issues, even though I look good and nobody can tell. Just the mechanics of, especially for me, I shouldn't brag about it, but I don't have a lot of things to brag about. The bitter winter is over here. So I was able to get into the pool today. Wasn't easy, but haven't been for 4 weeks, and I really feel like I've gone downhill by not moving at all. Like I could just spend days and days at home. So I thought, and then I came home talking about spoons, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired. I fell asleep, and I set the alarm for it to come here, and it went off about 5 times. I was like, okay, come on, get up.
well,
Let's
thanks
go
for
to bed.
saving a couple of spoons for us, Karen. So
Well, they were. I had some chocolate too. Just before I came on, but yeah, I'm really struggling with that one because I don't get a help. I don't have any help, and it's just me. And the crime is so bad in Oakland. It's so bad. It's like people are just getting attacked all the time. Their windows are getting smashed. And I live on a really nice street. Just so nice. It's so peaceful because a part of me is like, well, I like my home. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I moved my home? I could, I like the physical. You can take the things out of your home. But I go, no, it's quiet. It's so peaceful and quiet, and it just feels, it's home. It feels safe. So I'm playing with that one in my mind too. Like, oh my God, if I left here, where would I go? I chose this house. I chose this neighborhood. I chose to grow old here. And so I just didn't choose to grow old so quickly. So I'm way old enough to be your mother, you 42-year-olds. But yeah, just
So then, Catherine, you like went away for a second, or at least you were off camera. But I was curious then for you with COVID, what did that do to your MS symptoms, or was this like non-existent?
and when you
Sorry,
say COVID, do you
I was
mean
eating.
do you mean people got COVID or just living in a pandemic?
I
Or you got
I
COVID?
I have it. Like I'm at the end of it right now. So yeah.
Same. Today was my first day back to work. I was out for a week with it. I don't really feel like it affected me either way. I am vaccinated and I did have COVID already one other time. So I don't feel like it was that bad in comparison. So I don't know if that's the most accurate description.
Oh no, I mean but I mean I always think like MS affects everyone differently, well thereby then COVID affects everyone differently, I'm assuming, or it seems like. So I mean, what about you, Frank? Because you've been through it.
Damn near killed me.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it was to the point where I had I had signed a DNR and a do not incubate order, and I had a nurse holding my hand as they were trying to get me to be able to breathe,
Wow.
and it was pretty intense for one night. Uh, I really thought I was on the way out. I really did. I was even to the point where I was thinking, just let me go ahead and pass out. I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
And, you know, I made it. I'm here. And I will say that as far as MS is concerned, it has been a great ride. And I know that sounds crazy, but I've had more opportunities because of my relationship with the MS Society than you can imagine. I've been to DC. I've talked to senators and congressmen. I've testified before Congress. Uh, I've just had all kinds of opportunities, and it's not great, but I tell you what, at least I've been fortunate that I haven't had to sit there and concentrate on me. I've been able to think about other people and other things and go about my life. And I'm like Jennifer, I gotta have my independence. Gotta have it.
Yeah. And that's why. Hi, Tim, by the way. Good to see you. We have a bigger group tonight, and we're kind of all over the place. Do you want to just kind of, I think you know most people, but just in case, do you want to just say who you are real quick?
Yeah, I'm Tim Brien, out here in good old Fredericksburg, Virginia, and diagnosed as of March of last year. Wow, I get to say last year finally. Woohoo!
Hey.
Oof. We're going to have a party for my 1 year anniversary, but I'm diagnosed with MS, specifically CIS, so it's kind of like MS light. Pretty much is the way I look at it. But I'm on Abagia, which is the best named drug out there, and living life large.
I'm sorry, what drug are you on again?
I'm on Abagio.
There you go.
There you go. Make it. Yeah.
I'm on one of the newer ones, and I'm actually like a patient ambassador. So once a month, I sign into Zoom and I talk to doctors and possibly new patients about the benefits of Zeposia.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
wow.
How is that? How's that working for you?
Yeah.
I've played Pittsburgh, Boston, Colorado, St. Louis, Missouri from my office.
Wow. How's the medication or the DMT working for you?
No new relapses. I'm sorry, no new lesions and no enhancing lesions for
Nice.
That's good.
over a year and a half.
Wow.
Wow, that's huge.
And how is Zeposia, how is that delivered?
It's a once daily medicine, oral medicine.
Okay.
Okay. How are the side effects for you?
So I was on Gilenya before, and then I switched straight to Zeposia. Like, oh, I finished my last one yesterday, new medicine today, and the transition went really well. And the only side effects I had were like a couple days of like soreness and weakness, but that could have been because it was June and it was like 95 out.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That is something, Dan and I, we always talk about being diagnosed in the dark ages when we only had 3 drugs. So that was a piece of cake to figure out what medicine you were going on. But all you newbies that have been diagnosed within the last couple of years, how the F did you figure out what drug to take? I mean, holy
Oh,
cats. You've got
I didn't.
I went by the name of,
I didn't figure out anything. I was told what I was taking.
Baggio. I mean,
yeah.
So you
but I'm
started.
losing my hair. And Tim, I think the Abaggios work on you, buddy.
You know, I'm just, with a name like Abaggio, you can't go wrong, Well, I'm sorry.
But I was on Tecfidera for about not quite a year, but I was going some major hot flashes, and I really haven't had any problem with Abaggio. Just a little bit of hair loss, but I don't want to lose my hair. I don't.
And how do you take Abaggio?
It's one pill. I take it at night.
Okay, so it's an oral medication.
Yeah, there's like 2 different. Like I take the 14 grams. I think that's what it is. 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Tiffany? Are you on anything?
Yeah, they only gave me one option. I'm on Copaxone because my husband and I are trying to get pregnant.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's right.
They know it's safe to get pregnant on, so they really only gave me one option.
Okay. And it's a good drug. In my humble opinion, I took that for a long time before I worsened. So
He said once my husband and I are done having kids, we're going to revisit the conversation and probably go on something a little bit more. But until I'm fully done having kids and done, they said Copaxone only, and they said I'll probably stop treatment when I'm pregnant. So,
it's interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
How about
Is
you,
that an
Holly?
injectable? Is that an injectable?
Yeah, 3 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on 43 times a week, which is fun. I learned the ins and outs of copay assistance this week. So last week of this week.
Wow.
When I was on Copaxone, I believe it was fairly new, so I was injecting every day.
Mhm.
Every day. That was fun, and you had to rotate injection sites.
Oh, you still do?
Oh, I know, but when you're doing it 7 times a week, it's like how many sites can you find?
Yeah, I get like big welts, especially like on my thighs. It's
It used to happen to me too.
Yeah.
What are you taking now, Holly?
Rituxan.
Yep. Okay. See the commonalities. I've got the MS, but as soon as you I'm like, oh yeah, kindred, Rituxan. So yeah.
And I also have COVID too.
You have it right now?
No. I had it like a couple of weeks. I've actually had it twice since I've been vaccinated, but I just had it a couple of weeks ago. I had COVID pneumonia.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
So But
Well,
I have a lung disease too, so I was more worried about that. I had a hard time with my breathing and stuff, but it didn't really affect the MS at all.
Wow, that's good though.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I had COVID as well. I had it prior to diagnosis, and I think it actually interfered with me getting diagnosed. Because a lot of the stuff I was feeling, the numbness, the fatigue, the brain fog, a lot of it was, well, it might just be long COVID. So they had to like rule all that stuff out before the MS diagnosis started before they're like, okay, this might be something a little bit more. Because about 7 months after I had COVID is when I had the numbness for the first time, which is what drove me to the doctors.
And and that's interesting just because there's so much of like, and now that you have MS, it's like how many other things will get missed because they're going to blame the MS
Yeah.
versus actually looking to see what else it could be. And so, wow,
Or
that's
the
that's
or
good
the
that
other way around.
everything on MS.
yeah.
I get the
Yeah,
other way
no,
around.
they said it's a possibility too that the COVID, like, because they said I probably had MS for a while and just didn't have any noticeable symptoms. And then, like I said, it was only about 7 months after I had COVID that I started having symptoms, and they know it can be triggered by a virus. So they can't discount COVID being the reason that I started having the symptoms and started having the numbness with like the legs and stuff.
Wow.
That's insane.
But it's for my case the other way around. That all my symptoms were, you're just getting older. You just, and now, and then I know I've told people, I still have to kind of fight with my doctor, not fight, but why do I have 15 diagnoses in my chart that have nothing to do with the fact that I have paralysis and increasing? People don't know what MS is, and it's a really ridiculous to presume that your doctor knows what it is. Even your doctor who really cares about you. In my case, my primary, she really cares about me, and she's really looked and read a lot about it. She read a ton about it, and she realizes. And I said, what do you think when people look at my chart with all these cockamamie diagnoses that don't reflect what's going on with me? And I said, do you really think when a doctor sees, down the, 10 diagnoses down on the list, and I don't even have primary progressive. I have, it looks like, non-relapsing progressive MS. Did you really think anybody who looks at that knows what that means? Even
I
I didn't know that was in my chart. I was like, I'm told I have primary progressive. And I remember when the doctor told me, I was in such shock because another doctor told me I didn't have it, that I came home, I wrote it down. I said, I better write this down. I can't write anymore. That was 3 years ago. And I wrote it down. But when I came home, I told people I have permanent progressive. And then I realized what I wrote was primary, but the doctors don't know. And the time before last I saw my primary. I said, well, why do you have in my chart seborrheic keratosis? Now I'm a nurse and I don't know what the hell that is. And it's like little tiny right here. You couldn't see it if you tried. A little tiny skin flap. I have a little tiny skin flap on my ankle. And she said, well, because I saw it, so it has to be there. And I said, why is it on my problem list? If it's not a problem and if it's considered kind of normal, it's like saying, oh my, Dan and Tim, I noticed there's no hair on the top of your head. I better write it in your chart as a problem.
I think is that male pattern baldness, I think. Is that how that is? But
you know,
dude, I shave my head on purpose. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, well, see,
right?
but it's like,
I have
why
paid
put
for a
crap
haircut
in
in
your
like
chart?
20 years.
Yeah, but why
But
put crap on your chart that doesn't even? She says, all right, I'll take it off of there. But what I've really learned in these last 3 years is you have this diagnosis on your chart, and Tim, good luck with CIS. I'm sure that really rings a bell with all of them. Oh, okay, now we know what's going on with him. So, just it was very helpful for me in this group. I think about a month ago. Um, somebody came and said, what, what are common symptoms? And Jennifer said, oh, we're like snowflakes. We're all different. Until we realized, no, we're really not all different. We all have pretty much very, very similar things going on.
It's just a progressive illness. And that's what I think is so funny when people say, oh, I have relapsing remitting or I have secondary progressive. Yes, you do, but at the core, it's always progressing. And that's why doctors need to be aggressive and get you on medicine. And, we need to, just because it's always progressing, and do as much as we can, and but again, I think that's got to be hard to figure out what the right drug is for you when there are so many options and so many, if a medicine's not working, to switch and get a doctor to try something new. So,
well, it's like when I, think back to years ago when you had like three channels. You had ABC, NBC, and CBS in public television. You basically were limited in like what you could watch on TV. And now you got like satellite dish. So you have all of these options. So it's like some days you don't even know where to start. And so I think then with MS drugs and in terms of like talking about doing things and moving forward, Christy, you are in Arizona and stuff. And so Mayo Clinic, I mean, you talked about having to wait now for the MRI and stuff, but I mean, for everything else though, up to this point, good trip, bad trip. I mean, how was the flight down there? How was everything?
Oh, the flight was fine.
That's part of it.
Before I left Colorado, I took a Percocet because the spasms, I didn't want to be hurting while I was on the plane. I got here to Arizona just fine. And then I've been fine. Like, it hasn't been too bad as far as the spasms. Yeah, they're still coming. They're still painful, but they're not as intense. So I don't know if it has something to do with elevation or there's not a whole bunch of pressure on going through my body right now with the atmosphere. But with the consultation, everything went somewhat good. It was kind of a little deflating. Basically what I was told, because I was on Gilenya for 8, 9 years, something like that, that Gilenya is known to cause a rebound when you get off of it. So it's kind of like, the best way I can describe it is that, like, the gates open, the gates of protection are no longer there, and the rebound happens. And he's thinking that's what has happened to me with this exacerbation, with everything, with being in the hospital, all that stuff. So I don't know if this is a permanent rebound or if this is something that's going to take many years to get past. So but as of right now, he's just kind of adjusting some of my medication, increasing some, taking some away, because he's telling me, let's take some away that you don't absolutely need, and let's increase. And so he said that if nothing works out, I'm a good candidate to have a baclofen pump put in. So, but he said we have to go through all of these different steps to make sure that what we're trying to help with the spasticity helps rather than not helping, in order for the insurance to approve the baclofen pump. So, I mean, right now it's like, in that moment, I'm thinking in my head, okay, so what you're telling me is that I'm going to have to deal with all this pain until we can get it figured out by doing a lot of adjusting on my medications. Mm-hmm. And how long is that going to take? Because I don't know how much longer I can handle this severity of pain. So I felt kind of deflated. After my consultation appointment with him, but I have to be more optimistic. But that's the bottom line. I have to have faith. My grandma's over there. You have to have faith. You can't just give up. I'm like, but I'm at the point where I am, feeling like there's nothing else I can do to feel better and move on with life. As far as the pain is just something I've never experienced. So I'm really hoping that, because we will have another meeting after my MRI, I need to talk to him about some kind of pain management, because this is just, it's not fun. I don't.
What causes the spasms?
Just about everything. Like, you touch my foot wrong, I spasm. I can't straighten my leg. If I go to straighten it, I spasm. I could just be sitting here and a spasm just happens. I don't have any specific thing that triggers the spasms. That's the hard part.
And then no drugs but I feel like an idiot asking you, because I had to tell someone today, who I ran into at the pool, and he's like, I remember something's wrong. And I said, yeah. And people, aren't there any drugs? Can't you just use a scooter? Can't you just do whatever? But somehow spasms, I'm like, is it specific to MS that there's nothing that works?
Well, and that's what he's trying to work on right now, is my medication regimen. He's trying to adjust it to see if it'll start helping. Because I was telling him the dosage amounts. He's like, that's way too low. We need to get you on higher dosage amounts of the tizanidine and baclofen. He wants me to double those ones, like piggyback those, baclofen and tizanidine.
And hopefully that'll give you some relief in the interim. And but in the meantime, Christy, let's go ahead and be a test dummy and just stick pins in you and let's see what goes on. That's
right.
To a certain extent, I'm sure we all feel like that. Like, just try whatever the heck you think might help you. It's frustrating, and bless your heart that you're smiling through the pain. So.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's the hard part. That's all you can do is just keep on smiling.
And Kim's with us, and I just didn't want to ignore you down there.
Welcome to the party, Kim.
Yeah.
Now we got to start over, guys.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize for being late. I went over to see my nephew, who's less than 2 weeks old, and then 2 hours passed by, and I'm sorry. I was in baby love, so.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
I have to see him before I go on my trip, and then I won't be able to see him for a while until after my trip to make sure I don't have any nasties with me. So, yeah, I was in a little baby.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Who are you going to visit from our group? Where are you going?
Roatan. I'm going to Honduras, baby.
Wow.
My friend invited me. I'm like, I can't do this. And then it's like, no, you need to go. So I'm like, all right, I'm vaccinated. I'm triple vaxxed. I wear a mask. I do everything I need to do. So I'm going. So Friday morning I leave. So I'm like, direct flight from Minneapolis. I'm like, oh, I don't want to drive 3.5 hours. That's too much for me. My husband's like, I'll take you. I'm just like, you're not helping. I was hoping to go scuba diving a week. So I leave Friday and I come back Friday. So I was hoping to go scuba diving, but my ears aren't equalizing right now, so I don't think that's going to be an option. So I'll probably snorkel, maybe swim with whale sharks. We'll see. And I guess the weather right now is like really rainy, so we'll see. But I'm just like, maybe I won't take my scuba diving vest, my BCD, and instead I'll take board games. So we'll see. But it should be really fun. 3 of the girls I've never met, so that should be, but the one I've known my entire life, so it should be real fun. So yeah, but I was not planning on, that was not something on my radar that I was okay with, but with them and everything, I'm just like, okay, I will go.
And that's tough, Kim, with, I don't know, like, do you have to factor in multiple sclerosis and traveling outside of the country, and just, will my body be good? And was it a hard choice for you, or a hard decision?
It was originally. I was like, thank you for the invite, I appreciate it, but I have heat sensitivity issues. We've talked earlier where the perimenopause plus the heat and humidity makes me heat drunk. And what's the temperature like in Roatan? It's like in the 70s and 80s and highest. So I'm like, I don't know, I'll bring my cooling vest, but she said the bedrooms were air conditioned and I'll be in the water to cool off. And I didn't want to live in fear. I guess that was the point. It's like, do I want to live in fear, or do I want to live my passion? I mean, I love scuba diving. I like wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid. So, and the last time I was in the ocean, the last couple of times, I had these really amazing experiences. So, and it's like, she's paying, I don't have to. She's like, you're welcome to come, you don't have to pay for the place, I'm paying, I just have to show up. It's like, and then her mom calls me and it's just like, okay, because my first problem was I was afraid I was going to be a burden. I didn't want to be the burden in the group where I slow everyone down, everyone wants to do things. And she's like, no, this is a really chill group, we're going to be just hanging out super chill, this is an amazing group of women. And so when I realized I wasn't going to be a burden, and actually I felt like not only did I need to go down there, but I felt like they needed me there. And I know with you guys, with MS, we kind of suffer a lot with self-esteem issues because we can't do a lot of things we're used to doing. So I'm just like, suck it up, Buttercup, you're going, and you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to have a great time, and it's going to be good for you. And there's some things involved with risk and not, and this is one thing I'm willing to risk. So I'm going to do it. Am I going to be that crazy person? Like, I will have my mask on the entire time when I'm not around people I know. And, if I'm on a boat, the wind is going by, I'm not going to go in restaurants on purpose without a mask or something. But it's just, I mean, it's been almost 2 years. Let me, I have this opportunity. I'm going to jump, because it wasn't a pandemic. Easy decision. Easy decision. Pandemic, woo, you make it a little tougher on me. But she's gonna do my friend's an MD, so she'll actually give us the COVID test to get out of Roatan. So, and that also helps me too, because if I have any issues, she's not licensed in Honduras, but I have a medical doctor with me, so that's really helpful. Gives me a lot of peace of mind, So that helps a lot too. So.
Well, that's good. Congrats. That's really amazing.
So I'll tell you guys in a couple of weeks in our next meeting how it went, and
yeah, we'll live vicariously.
Interesting stories. Did I get sick? Did I not get sick? But honestly, to tell you the truth, starting Wednesday last week, the fatigue hit me really, really hard, and I'm like, am I sick? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm sick, it's not the sick part that gets me down, it's the MS, the severity of my MS symptoms that kick my ass. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to test for COVID just to make sure. I don't think I have it because I haven't been around anybody. They tested negative. But from Wednesday through Saturday, I was bedbound pretty much. I couldn't really do anything. And then it freaked me out because like 2 years ago, I was bedbound for like 5.5 months. And I'm like, are we back to this again? Are we seriously? But my body was just like, stop. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to my body, get my butt to bed, and just chill it out. And that's what I did. And I went away in 4 days. But I think I pushed myself a little too hard trying to get corporate taxes and stuff done before I left, and a bunch of stuff. And it just could have been another fluke, and I could have gotten sick from a little something, not COVID. But you just have to realize things happen. So yeah, so there's certain things I'll take risk on and certain things I won't take risk on. To go on a vacation with she was one of my bridesmaids, to go on vacation with her, hello, yes.
Yeah.
And she'll take care of me if I need help. And
yeah. And before you got here, Kim, John, he's on my computer, he's above you. He's new with us tonight, and he's in Michigan. So bring in Michigan.
We got another Michigan person.
Another Gander. And he's experiencing COVID right now. So,
how's that going for you?
So we did talk a little bit about COVID, and it's surprising how many of us have had COVID, or it's just, geez, it's so, I just thought that, was interesting because it was right before you got here. We talked about that. So,
And I have my infusion, my Ocrevus infusion in the middle of February, so I feel like I have a time to like get better before I have to do that. Take time to recover. But yeah, so I just feel like I need to. There's some things that are worth taking risks on, and it's just like, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do this one. And I couldn't believe it. I found a dive instructor and a pool to rent in less than a week in Des Moines, Iowa, in the middle of December. Like insane.
nice.
Because I haven't scuba dived in 4 years, so I kind of felt like I need a little refresher, you know. So.
Two of my nieces just got their dive certification
Oh, it's
in
amazing.
Cozumel right before Christmas.
I don't know if you guys has anyone else here scuba dived? Anybody? Okay, so it's a sport, but think of it as the most relaxing, chilling, meditative sport you could do in your life. Because if you do it, if you're a good diver like the dive masters, they barely swimming. They're barely using any energy. Like, so it's a great thing to do if you have MS, because as long as they let you take off like your your dive vest and stuff before you get on the boat, so you want to lift up all that heavy weight on the ladder, it's super great. And for me, diving is the best thing for me, like physically, mentally, and spiritually. Like it's the best thing ever. I'm a water baby, guys. Just how I roll.
I was
So
cursed with being a sun baby, and that doesn't work well with MS sometimes.
yes.
Like 87 and humid in Michigan. Oh my God, stick me out on a disc golf course. Oh my God, get me out there.
Have you tried a cooling vest at all, John?
I have not.
Oh, dude. Okay, you got to try this. So I got a new okay, so my old cooling vests were great, but it was like I was like a football player. They were super heavy. Got a new one the end of July. It's just on your back. It's less than 2 pounds, and it was a game changer. So for me, John, before the vest, I'd walk my dog flat. I only could walk her like maybe 8 to 9 houses and back, and I was like done. And this thing, then I can start walking blocks. If you give me a second, I'll think of the name and I'll put it in the box for you. And there was like a coupon code. It might still work, but
Yeah.
highly recommend that. That was a game changer for me because I was like, so I talked about my heat drunk. So I don't drink, but when I'm outside of the heat now, like I start walking funny. I start slurring my words. It's hard for me to talk and like make sense, like put the words together. And then you're talking to me, and I'm like, what are you saying? Like my brain just slows down, and you get me inside, I cool down, I'm normal. But it's just like it's like a switch just flips. It's just the craziest thing. It was.
Luckily, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it was really noticeable at 4th of July because in Iowa it was like really hot and humid, and my mom keeps the house like 65 degrees, so it was night, like it was really obvious. Okay, I'm gonna look up that thing and then put it in the text box for you, John. It's kind of expensive. Highly recommend. They have 2 sizes, an extended version and a thinner version. I would still get if you're gonna get only one, get the extended version because it can last so longer. If you want a thinner one, you can too. I also used it a ton working out with personal trainer indoors because I get super overheated fast. I actually work out most of the time with my trainer right now outdoors. Like today outside it's like 30-some degrees out. We're outside working outside. And you know how much longer I can do working out outside by staying cooler? Huge difference.
Definitely looking into that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna look on my phone and find that
And it
information.
shows you're like the Energizer Bunny. When I first started coming to group, you'd just be like,
You remember I was laying down, John, I was laying down on the futon, like barely, like I think sometimes I was like shutting my eyes. Like, I'm here, guys. I'm just, yeah.
In 2019, so like I was still in grad school. No, I'm sorry. 2016, 17, 18. 2018, I was in grad school down in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Sorry, Dan and Jen. They just had a
I
better.
was going to say, what are you doing there, Western boy? But go ahead.
But at a geology club meeting, which yes, there are geology clubs, people were trying to figure out how to plan like where the next trip was because they do like an end of the school year big trip. I was like, yeah, we should go to Iceland. I was like, just suggested that, and everyone ran with it. And then in April, I'm in Iceland.
Wow.
And all my classmates checked in on me every day. I didn't carry any kind of suitcase for the whole trip. And they just made it so accessible for me. It was wonderful. So if anyone can find like a travel group of caring, willing people, please take an opportunity if you can. You don't have to go to Iceland though. You know,
Or
but,
Rotan.
Yeah.
and the worst thing is I got addicted to Iceland, and that's where I went on my honeymoon.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Nice.
Iceland is so gorgeous. It's such a like that misnomer name. Like they switch Greenland and Iceland. Like,
Yep.
like Iceland's a nice place. Greenland, not so much. Iceland is awesome. I'd love to go there.
There were so many cool places to go. And oh, by the way, we're geologists, right? So geology club, and so we're nerding out hardcore about all the waterfalls and all the things. And I was like, ooh, this hot chocolate has goat's milk in it. And people are like, why? What? You're weird. I'm like, it's an experience I've never had before. So did all those kinds of things.
Well, this is just take advantage of just all of the things when you have those options. I mean, that's, because
Those opportunities, you have to take advantage of them. So, yeah.
And
so
we did
Tiffany,
a ton of fun too.
I was curious just in that because last we talked, you were like working like 80 hours a day and stuff. Has that calmed down for you?
And Jennifer was
I would say
also
Jennifer,
working
yeah,
like
I
at a
was gonna
new
say,
job.
I mean, just because then as we're talking about like stress and everything, how's everybody doing with that then? As you smile and laugh.
Yeah, I did 55.5 hours last week. Between my boss and I, we did 1,100 swabs on residents and staff last week alone.
Wow.
It's been a little crazy. I'm already at, like 20, I think I'm at 21 hours already today, and I worked yesterday and today.
I'm going to tell you, slow it down.
I'm sorry. We have a COVID outbreak at my work.
Look, okay. Knock on wood, I have not had COVID. My daughter had COVID. She lives with us. Didn't have COVID. I'm immune. No, I just know. I'm knocking on the wood. But
I need to test you. Get her brain.
But I've actually with this new job, I haven't really overworked, but like the grant doesn't start till mid-February about the infant mortality, but I've been really reading books. And I went to, I still do this syringe exchange because I still work with addiction. And during that whole pandemic, right when it started, like addiction never stopped. So I think I exhausted myself so much that in that 8 months, I had 2 MRIs and both showed new lesions, and I was exhausting myself. And the heat, man, I know about that heat. I love doing health fairs because I love to like share my recovery and what recovery looks like. And I went last summer because I'm a crazy Viking and I wasn't going to let the heat stop me, and it did. Because after an hour, I was like drunk. Don't drink, but I understand that feeling because I was like, what is wrong with me? And I was shaking and I was like, man, I got to get going. I have to get out of here. It's too hot. And I being a redhead, I don't like the heat anyways. So it really, I felt de-empowered because I think that's the word. Just, I don't know. That's the thing I used to do, and I had no problem doing it. And that was just, but I had to accept, and that's really a good word to do because that's nothing I can control. That's something I can't control, and I have to accept it and take care of myself. So I've just kind of been reading books at work and still talking about recovery to people that, at the syringe exchange, and just kind of taking it easy.
Yeah.
But They did give me full time, and I told my boss, who is a really good friend of mine, and he's always wanted me on his team anyways. I was like, you just couldn't let me have part time till February. He's like, well, let's start you now. I was like, God. So I'm just reading a lot of things and books I've been reading from Amazon, anything about infant mortality, and it's crazy. The history and what it still increases. We're losing babies before their first birthday, and it's because of the medical system and stuff like that. Go figure. Yeah, it's pretty. Whew, it's intense.
And it sounds like, I mean, I don't want to say you have a passion with infant mortality. That's not what I'm saying. But it sounds like your job is as intense as it is. It sounds for you and Tiffany, it just like gives you time to get away from thinking about multiple sclerosis because you're working and you're not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's accurate because I don't work.
You're right. Because I don't want to, because I think about it all the time. And let me tell you, we went back to my old job at Centerstone because I worked there for 12 years. And I was like, I'm going to go up in here. And because now I work for the Wayne County Health Department. And my old boss, who gave me such hell when I had optical neuritis, saying that, I can't see out of my right eye too much. Well, I was like, I was blind. I didn't know what was going on. She was just bullying me. And I walked up in there because, and so going up the steps, I drop, I fall. I don't know how I fell, but I was like looking around, making sure nobody see me. I fall. So yeah, I fell right there. It was great. I was like, you know what? This big girl falls hard. So that whole next day, I was hurting so bad. I was like, I don't know how I fell. I was like, how'd that happen? I'm always like walk sideways now, so sometimes I'm just like, whoa. So yeah, you just gotta laugh about it because it sucks. It sucks. But things like that, it's funny. I have to laugh.
I've had a fall and a half in the past 3 weeks, and the half fall. So we went down to St. Louis, Missouri, to spend time with my wife's family for Christmas. We stayed at Six Flags over St. Louis in their Holiday Inn. The handicap room was gorgeous. Um, the shower was wide enough that you could drive a wheelchair in and like maybe do a couple laps back and forth. At one end was a bench that flipped up and then legs swung down to sit on. All right, but the shower head is way over there. So Melissa hands me the shower head. I'm sitting down. I get a little bit, wet, and then the legs go forward. So it was a slip and slide all the way
No.
across the floor to the other side. Let me tell you, Six Flags, they can't let that happen. They have a quality of slip and slides that they want to keep. But luckily, we just called for lift assist and they got me up and I was fine. Like before now, if you just get me off the ground, I can do just fine. But worst water slide ever.
Yeah. And that's not a fun water slide.
The EMT was like, "Did you have fun?" I was like, "Not at the beginning, but once I like mid trip was cool, and then I hit the wall on the other side, and that wasn't cool." But we got to laugh at stupid things like that sometimes.
Yeah. And I don't want to neglect to Tiffany, like we were talking about work. Is your job like really stressful? I mean,
No. My job.
I'm sorry, John, you work as well.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, I work as well.
Okay. And then I know I had said that like your job can be somewhat like a release or you can get away from your MS, but Tiffany kind of shook her head like maybe not always.
No.
No, I find I have to actively think about it at work because if I push too hard, I learned this the hard way. My one and only flare so far was because I went in and worked as a CNA one day, which was very physical, and it's a nursing home. It's kept at like 90 degrees all the time, so I overheated a little bit and put myself into a flare. So yeah, it's just I find I have to actively think about it a little bit more at work just because if I don't, I'm especially doing 55 hours, I just have to be very cognizant about what I'm doing.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, like it goes back to we talk about all the time self-care and knowing your limits and don't push yourself, right, Jennifer?
And I'm 42, by the way.
Excellent age, Jennifer. High five.
I'll
Woo-hoo!
be 43 in June. But I
We're
started
only a couple
I
months
started
old.
the 40s with my MS. So I was like, let's bring in them 40s. Come on.
Jennifer, what date in June?
June 25th.
It's my dad's birthday.
Cancer right here.
Yeah. What about you, John? Do you have a June birthday?
Yeah, the 12th.
12. Yeah. You should
Are you
have
also
just
a
one big
70 or are you in the 80s, John?
I'm sorry?
Are you in the 70s or in the 80s?
79, man.
79.
Oh, we are just rocking this group tonight, guys. Whoa, I didn't know we were dominating here.
And I don't
So
want
we
to say,
have
like,
three of us within like 3 months of each other, all were born. That's so funny. You're
Jill,
correlated with that with MS.
I'm only 6 months behind you, Kim.
Oh, that's right. You were the December girl, weren't you?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Christy,
we
we're
got
excited to have
any
you.
other 1979ers we got in the group that wants to admit it. Or wants to be. We're a cool group, guys.
I was looking at this lighting. I was like, oh my God.
I went to buy Dan beer at the store the other day because, to be honest, sometimes you need a beer when you're dealing with this disease.
Or 3 or 4.
And I didn't get ID'd. And I was kind of heartsick because there was a sign that said, if you don't look over 40, we're going to ID you. And I had colored my hair that week, and I'm like, shut up, I have no gray hair. Give this old lady ID me, please. I didn't get ID.
I would
Sorry.
have
It's
you.
the little things. Like, just ask me.
We always say that, like, and I forget where we were. It's like if we go shopping, like at a grocery store, and they actually card me and stuff. It's just like if you were my waiter or waitress, you would automatically get a 40% tip just for asking me.
Yeah.
If
So you all youngster, you embrace that. It's
Dan, I was a bouncer at Rubbles in Mount Pleasant for a decade.
so
And
go ahead.
and so I was just thinking, like, sometimes it is someone's responsibility to cheer up someone's day by carding them.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's easy to do.
When I was in that position where I had to card people supposedly over 40, a lot of people, especially women that looked a little old, potentially, I've carded them anyway because it made their day. I'm like, it says if you look under 40, I have to card you, so sorry. And they're like, no problem.
See
Now,
that
looking at an ID, as long as the first number of the year is a 1, they're legal to drink. So 2000, like, oh my God, I remember when I thought it was going to be the future.
I have 2 kids that are old enough to drink. I'm dying. I'm like,
wow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have a 23-year-old, should be 24, and then I have a 21-year-old, and then I have an 18-year-old, and my stepson's 13. Yeah.
Wow.
My son's
I still look young.
I'm sorry.
47.
Dan, it looked like you're going to ask me if I knew someone, and the answer is yes.
Well, you know, and I was just thinking that it would be so. I'm just thinking back. Okay, Jennifer's like, shut up. No, but no, but seriously, it's like you think of this, like with MS and with the world and things, just like how much things you wish you would have known back dates or something. I'm going off in another direction, but Frank, I wanted to ask Frank, what were you saying about?
I said my son is 47.
Your
So
son
you're,
is older than me? No way.
Yes, it
This is
is.
the one that I met, right? The one that came on your Emmy award-winning documentary guy. Okay, I didn't know. I thought he was younger than
47
me.
years old.
Oh, I thought he was younger than me. Could have fooled me.
Now,
what I
You
wanted
needed,
to, I
you
wanted to
needed
ask
to
because
card him, Kim. You should have carded him. What? How
He
come you
never
didn't
came to
card
my
him?
place, to my knowledge. He might have. I lived in Kansas City for 5 years. He might have, but no.
I wasn't carded. You know, I grew up in New York, and 18 was the drinking age, and I used to go to this mafia bar, so it really didn't matter. You know, I got 16, and I didn't really want to drink a lot. And then I remember being in an after-hour bars, and this cop walked in, and I was sitting there going, "Oh my God, my mother's gonna kill me. Oh my God, my mother's gonna kill me." And the cop sat down, and they were shooting craps, and he just sat down and had a drink. And and then when I moved to California, or even in my 40s, people are asking me for ID. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the first time I've ever been asked for ID. But you'll have your, you'll have your menopause things and your senior discount moments in your 50s and go,
Yeah.
When did I get here?
No one's giving me senior discounts yet. Yet is the key word. Did you guys know that they changed it a couple years ago that the smoking age now is 21 across the board, all states?
Yeah.
So now it's the same age for drinking and smoking. I found that fascinating.
But you could vote.
Yeah, you can vote when you're 18 still, thankfully. But yeah, the other two, you
you
have to
can
wait
go
till
to war.
You go to war, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the big thing during the Vietnam War, right? You could fight, but you couldn't vote.
Yeah.
If I remember learning
That's what
history.
So Holly, how are you doing? We've been like all over the board. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing okay.
Doing okay?
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there? I read, and I don't know if anybody else has read it. The immune compromised people, they're talking about a fourth shot, a fourth vaccination for COVID. And you've had COVID, correct, Holly?
Right.
Would you consider taking a fourth shot if that's possible?
Right now I can't do anything because when I had COVID, I was so sick that I had the infusion of antibodies, and you can't do anything for 3 months after the infusion of antibodies.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess the antibodies are supposed to protect you, but I have the worst luck in the world. So who knows?
Well,
Who are you hanging out with, Holly?
I know. I don't even go nowhere. That's the funniest thing. I'm like, and the thing is that I had gone to the doctors and they tested me for COVID, and then they were like, "Oh, you just have bronchitis," because I get it like every year because I have sarcoidosis. So they treated me, and my COVID test came back negative. But then I wasn't feeling better, and I kept gasping for air. I couldn't my chest wouldn't loosen up. So the doctor said, "I want you to go back." So I went back, and they gave me a chest X-ray, and so I was sitting there waiting, and the doctor come in, and they roll up in that little doctor seat, and she goes, "You have COVID pneumonia." And I go, "What the hell is that?" And she goes, "It's pneumonia from COVID." I go, "Yeah, but my COVID test came back negative." And she goes, "I bet you it won't now." What the heck? I literally called my husband. I'm like, are you ready for it? And he's like, what? I'm like, you better sit down. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I have COVID pneumonia. He's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, exactly. And then after I got out of quarantine after COVID, some guy flipped over and landed on my car in my driveway. I'm like, I am like having the worst, like, this is the sign of what 2022 is going to be like. And it's not no good.
No.
Wow.
So now I have to go through buying a new car and everything. I hate that.
I'm with Holly in that this year has already been a struggle. I thought last year was bad. What was I thinking?
I know.
Holly, if someone invites you to go on vacation with them, you say yes.
Maybe I should go with you.
I got to go to the Walmart.
Oh,
That's a vacation.
I'm
Go
afraid to
on.
go anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere.
My
You know that,
anxiety goes up at Walmart.
that spoon theory, I feel like when it comes to COVID, I haven't given any thought to fear of COVID. Like I feel like there is so much going on with my body, and because I'm of that age anyway, and should we get together? Shouldn't we get together? We're gonna have a music camp, or we're gonna sing together. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. I haven't spent any energy. I don't even think I spent 1% of my time worrying about COVID, and I feel like I'm so tired of hearing about it. Like it's
Well,
just
I
I'm
was so worried about like getting it in the beginning. I was like, I want to be the first person in line for the vaccine. I was so gung ho about the vaccine. And then I was in the hospital and there was a lady next to me who was like crying on the phone to her daughter, like crying and just kept saying like, I knew I should have got the vaccine. I knew I should have got the vaccine. So I said to my husband, should I go over and make her feel better? Because this was the second time I had it since I've been vaccinated. I'm like, what the hell?
Imagine how much worse it could have been though if you weren't vaccinated.
True. That is very true. I swear that this last time I definitely probably would have died if I didn't have it.
Yeah, I mean, you got out, you came home from the hospital.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm cavalier about it but she's like, oh, did you get the vaccine? When are you gonna get the vaccine? Did you get, well, and I'm a lot older than you. The horror of aging. Of first it was like before I was 40. Oh my God, I got this bulge in my thigh. It wasn't here last year. And then I'm in my 50, like not even 50 yet, and I'm with some people and they're all talking about you're going to take hormones or not, and I'm like, oh, this is ugly. This is going to get worse. And so yeah, I'm just surprised I guess I don't know, because I'm a nurse. I mean, the first 2 weeks I stayed home, and then I needed to drive my car so it wouldn't die, and I drove past this little market in my neighborhood, and I'm like, oh, look at that, there's only one car in the lot. I'm going to go in. And after 2 weeks, I went, oh, look, I could choose my own food. So I realized for the sake of my mental health, I'm definitely going to take myself to the store. And I haven't used, personally, if I used a tablespoon of hand sanitizer, it just, and at first I would wash my hands and now I'm just like, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to walk into, and I didn't worry about getting the vaccine. I just waited. First, I wanted to see what happened with people, and then I didn't worry about it. And then every time I tried to get even the booster, it's like my doctor goes, "How did you do that?" It's just like, well, I just go online. I go, "Oh, look, I can go on Wednesday. I can go tomorrow." No, I don't want to go tomorrow. I'll go next Wednesday. Okay. There were options.
There's been somebody here, Don's. I didn't know if like they're just kind of still like blinking like something. I didn't know if something was happening. There it is.
Well, can you hear me?
You can,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, I can't get the camera to work. I'm actually a prostate cancer group, which was for tomorrow, and I was just communicating privately with Rick. I've got several friends with MS that I wasn't aware of this group. I've found the AnCan group for the prostate arena more beneficial than any support arena that I've been around and over the years. And I was going to share the details of this with my friends with MS.
It's very cool.
I thought I was on the wrong group, so then I checked out, came back in, and then I figured out what it was about, and so I will make that overture to them if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, please do. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, Dan was sitting here. He's like, I don't know. And then so I'm glad we recognized and introduced.
Yeah, because it's like I saw you come in and then you were gone and then you're back on, but it just like it was kind of like just blinking, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know. And I was thinking, well, at least to acknowledge it. So no, that'd be awesome if you could share it.
Yeah, thank you. And we're glad to hear that the group has been good for you.
And then
Well,
here's
Not just that, but Don told me in the private message he used to teach MS people how to ski.
Really nice.
Thank you. I taught at Winter Park here in Colorado.
Oh, they had a fantastic program for people that needed accommodations. Blind skiers. It was amazing.
You need one. I'm not teaching anymore, but you need one thing to get on the slopes, and that's desire. And if you have desire, we would get you on the slopes, whether you had one leg, whether you had use of neither leg, if you needed to go into a sled or you were on a 3-track, if you were blind, if you were deaf, whatever the malady, whatever the handicap, we would accommodate.
John, are you still in Colorado?
I am.
What part of Colorado are you in?
The greater Denver area, Centennial, actually, south of Denver.
Centennial.
But yeah,
I live in Brighton.
Oh, well, I don't want to take up your group's time. This is Rick, who is on in the corner, has been a wealth of input for me and my process with this cancer, prostate cancer. And I will get this input out to my cohorts and see if they have an interest and would like to. I'll get the input from Rick. Well, maybe you could just tell me and I'll write it down.
Our next meeting, Don, is the 25th of January, and we meet at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And it's an incredible group, and it would be fantastic if you would share it with your cohort.
Okay. Well, I spent a little time, as I said.
Don, I'll put the. I'm just about to put the link to the web page in the chat window for you, and
okay.
This is a huge thrill for me, because when we can create connections between groups, it's very special. We have it in a few places. We have some sarcoidosis people in our prostate cancer group, and we have different, but I love it when this happens across. So thank you for stopping by on the wrong day, and if you could drive anybody else to this group, these moderators are just terrific. I can't say enough good things about Dan and Jennifer and Kim and Frank. They're fantastic. And we'd love for you to send people this way, because I haven't been in the group much tonight, but they haven't talked a lot of technical stuff since I've been here, but their technical knowledge is great, and they can give some really good guidance to people as to treatments and goodness knows what. Now, I will tell you, I'm a little disappointed about one thing. I was in the gym yesterday, And Mike Pettipool was there, which I was delighted to see because I've never seen him before. And he came up to me and said, "We're going to be learning how to play euchre tomorrow night. And you have to be on there because this is a Michigan game." And Dan said he was going to teach the group how to play euchre. But Mike isn't here.
Well, but you tell Mr. Pettipool the next time you see him, we didn't do it because we wanted him to be here for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We're all ready to go. We're all ready to go. And Mike didn't show up, so we have to wait the next time.
Yes, and bonus, we brought another gander to group tonight, and so he would have.
Yeah, he would have been all in with euchre.
I was born with a Bauer.
Okay.
I am in Arizona right now. I made sure I came to this support meeting because euchre.
Oh, we disappointed Christy tonight. Oh my God. No. We're
Wait
gonna
till
have
I
to
tell
say-
Pettipool.
So this
Wait
is what
till
we
I
need to do,
tell
Rick.
Pettipool.
Rick, we need to start
Where are you in Arizona, Christy?
a new group where we play card games or what online with all the different groups, which is a great segue on January 31st.
Yes, get your calendars
Yes,
out.
I was going to say, because there's big announcements.
Webinar. It's not just MS, it's prostate cancer, it's lupus, it's wheelchair folks. We're going to be talking about intimacy and sexual dysfunction. If you guys missed it, was it November? I had the privilege with Dr. Rubin to talk about urology and a little bit of sexual health, and we're going to go back to the subject. We'd love you there. You ask the questions. It's completely confidential. They tell me what to say. I will say your questions. I have no shame. So this is a place to come and be open and honest about all the different health issues you have when it comes to these areas, and it's just amazing. It'll be a really great.
What time will it be, Kim?
I don't know. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. Is that right? Yeah. I might be in a hotel room in Rochester, Minnesota, but we will make it work.
And Rick, I imagine that there will be information that goes out to the mailing list.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. My only concern is it'll go out, it might go out to you late, but we'll probably send out a webinar mailing. I know that Alexa just finished the flyer today and she's going to get it out, and I'm going to put the registration in the chat window again for you right now, because you can, the registration is open and you can start to put that in.
Okay.
There it is. Oh no, I sent it to Dawn only. I didn't mean to do that. I'll send it to everybody.
Are you gonna tell her to have a few drinks beforehand so maybe her tongue will slow down?
That's up to Kim. Kim has open communication with Dr. Rachel, so you'll have to talk to Kim about that.
Well, I think the speed was okay. I think I'm not concerned so much with the speed because it's recorded, so you can pause it, you can rewind it.
No, forget it.
The only thing we don't have is
if you even mention it, even if she tries, it was so fast, and I really come from fast talkers, and I can understand other people talking in other languages and fast languages, but to process that much information, it was just like way too much in my head. I couldn't put all that information in my head. That it was just seriously overwhelming.
I agree. I agree with that.
It was too fast for you?
Well, I had to shut it off because I was like, my head was spinning. It was like way
too much. In a massive amount of stuff in a short period of time.
That's good feedback, and we'll try and let her know to slow it down a little bit. That's great feedback. I also wanted to say that we're going to have some we're going to have some adolescent and young adult folks, but for us that means 18 to 45. So that's also going to be a focus in this one. But I think she's great. I mean, as you see, she's very easy with this subject. She's very open with this subject, and these are tough subjects to talk about. So we'd love to have you all there, and you can start registering right now. The link is right above the messages from from Don Kramer to
And
us.
done because I have multiple sclerosis. I don't type super well. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us, and we're all saying be well and have a good evening. And I'm
Thank
gonna
you all.
Thank you.
I really
Rick, I
appreciate
signed
the
up a minute ago.
serendipitous event. What a treat.
Fantastic.
thanks. And
Fantastic.
Serendipity is
Fantastic.
one of the better things that happen.
yeah, thank
We
you.
love it.
all.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Don. We,
I think
And
the
And John, if you haven't signed up, when you joined us tonight, if you sign up, you'll get future mailings. And just because I know that we're getting close to a little after 10, just if you didn't hear, our next meeting is the 25th, and Kim's awesome intimacy webinar will be on the 31st,
Monday night, last day of the
Monday
month.
night.
And it's cool. The thing about it is that when it has these issues, a lot of people suffer by themselves. And listening to that, you're like, oh, I'm not the only one. This is a really common thing. So if you ever want to see the other one that we did specifically on urology with MS and sexual health, check out, it's on our YouTube.
Hey, it's on our website too.
Oh, it's on our
You just
website.
have to put, yeah, if you put in Rachel Rubin on our website, you'll find it, and I'll put the link into that. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link in right now for that. But we thought she was great, and I really appreciate that feedback on her speaking so quickly and moving through, because we can ask her to slow it down a tad. That's very
And
helpful.
also, if there's a handout, like if we can have a copy of her information while she's running through it, because I am a fast talker, and I know, it wouldn't,
So
somebody,
I will say
it's not
this.
easy to slow it down, but it's certainly if
That
there was like a visual that didn't just fly by so quickly, if I felt overwhelmed and Holly felt overwhelmed, it was overwhelming.
She did release the slides after the presentation.
Yeah, but it would be helpful to have it
on the website. So you should be able to find a handout on the website if you go look for it.
Yeah, but it would be, I'm just saying, it's kind of unrealistic to expect her to slow her speech down. People don't change that easily, but it would have been helpful to at least be able to have the material while it was going on. If you don't have cognitive issues, you don't understand what that means. And trust me, I didn't understand what that meant until it happened to me. Like, I'd hear people go, oh, I have chemo fog. I'm like, whatever.
Right. So, so let me just say on that, we do include the slides. They are on the website, so you can see the slides. It's sometimes difficult for us to get the slides in advance because we can't always get them from the presenters in advance, but you'll always find the slides on our website. If you go to the website and you Google Rachel Rubin.
I know. It's not the same. It just was overwhelming. So, maybe I just won't go because I don't want to be overwhelmed. I mean, I'm just saying there's a way to make it easier. And
okay.
Well, and it's not about just about me because I just have the big mouth, so I say things.
Yeah, I don't think this lecture is going to be as technical as last time, though. She went through a lot of drugs and procedures and things like that.
The other thing is that it's not only about us and AnCan, it's about what the doc gives us ahead of time and how we're going to post that and where we're going to post it ahead of time. And so sometimes we're not in a position to post those slides early on. And if we were, where would we post them? Where do we put them? If we said we put them on the event on our calendar, people are going to say, well, we didn't know they were on your calendar. So it's not that easy to do it if you think about it from our perspective, but we always put the slides, if we can get the slides, and sometimes the docs won't give us the slides, but if they do, we always post them afterwards.
What about like in the chat? Because I remember it was a little different than this. Was there a chat that you can? Anyway, they're just
Not really.
suggestions. I'm just saying, because I've
No,
learned
the
that
answer is
if I have an issue,
hard to
I'm not
put them.
usually the only one with the issue.
Right. The answer is it's hard to put them in the chat because in order to put them in the chat, they've got to be linked. In order to put them
This
on our
conference will now be recorded.